Unrest
Radio.
Welcome to the third episode of the Unrest Radio. Today's episode is significantly important to rethink the livable planet Earth for every living being. Today's episode is all about the climate crisis and the human response to that climate crisis. On the other hand, today's episode is also about capitalist oppression, who doesn't care about any emergency concerns of the climate crisis. According to the latest report from a United Nations climate panel, the negative impacts of climate change are mounting much faster than scientists predicted less than a decade ago. We already see effects scientists predicted, such as the loss of sea ice, melting glaciers and ice sheets, sea level rise, and more intense heat waves. Scientists predict global temperature increases from human-made greenhouse gases will continue. Severe weather damage will also increase and intensify. The key point of that climate panel report showed that more than 40% of the world's population live in places and in situations that are highly vulnerable to climate change. Some are already experiencing the effects of climate change, which vary by region and are driven by factors such as geography, how that region is governed, and its socio-economic status. The report also references, for the first time, historical and ongoing patterns of inequalities such as colonialism that contribute to many regions' vulnerability to climate change. Climate change has already caused death and suffering across the world, and it will continue to do so. In addition to contributing to deaths by helping to trigger disasters such as fires and heat waves, it has affected public health in various ways. Smoke inhalation from fires has contributed to cardiovascular and respiratory problems, for instance. And increased rainfall and flooding has led to the spread of diseases such as cholera. Mental health issues tied to the trauma of living through extreme event and to loss of livelihood and culture are also on the rise. Anyways, I went to Lützerath, a village in the West Germany in the North Rhine-Westphalia state on the day X. For the last 2 years, climate activists, along with others, are trying to save Lützerath to stop coal mining. The Heinsberg Court issued an order permitting the eviction from Lützerath from 10th of January 2023 onwards and banned people from going there. The German authority officially deployed 1,500 police from all over the North Rhine-Westphalia state for the eviction. So the state police who run on people's tax money were assigned to protect the business interest of the private company RWE. So on the 10th of January 2023, I was there. I have seen that from Erkelenz to Lützerath village, many roads were blocked by private securities hired by RWE. When I was close to the Lützerath village, I saw miles of police vans surrounded by the Lützerath. I met a person who had just been evicted, and the person shared with us the experience.
I came out because the cops are very, very brutal. They are really wanting to evict this place. They want to force the people to go for the capital interests of RWE. They shit on the legitimate interests of the people to save this place for the environment. Again, the cops were very, very brutal. They are doing everything to get the people out, and the situation gets kind of more and more dangerous inside. It is dangerous because the cops want to catch everyone and are violent against the people and want to take them out. So I will go to Keinberg. It's a legal camp, unser aller camp it's called, and I will try to support the people inside from Keinberg because I got not over but very, very close to my limits, and it was too much fear because of the brutality of the cops. And yesterday I saw they hurted physical other people much more than me, and today they will make it even more. But I'm very, very happy and very, very proud of everyone who stays still there, and and who can come to Keinberg, to unser aller camp, should come there to show solidarity to the people in Lützerath, to defend Lützerath as much as possible. I don't know if it's possible to defend it at all, but show solidarity to the people in Lützerath.
After talking with the evicted person from Lützerath village, I wanted to enter the village. But the problem was the police stopping every journalist to get in. It was shocking for me to know that journalists are only allowed inside the Lützerath if they have the accreditation from the police. This is actually a vital concern of press freedom. If journalists need permission from the police to cover the news, so journalists had to get accreditation from the police. After I got it, I entered the Lützerath village. I managed to talk to several people living in the tree house who are trying to defend Lützerath. I wanted to know about the police violence, their living experience, and their opinion about the politics.
The last few days we've seen actually quite a bit of police violence, especially yesterday. It's been pretty bad because we tried to stop them from moving closer to the village. And they came in with pepper spray. They also hit people on the head. Also today, it was a big problem that they didn't leave the medics, let the medics come to the people who were injured at first. And yeah, the behavior of the police, it was really risking the health of people. I'm not sure if anybody was hospitalized. I know that a week ago one person was injured at their foot, and it's still walking on crutches. It's not broken, but yeah, it first looked broken. And this is the level of police violence that we're seeing here. We keep being asked if we are disappointed in the Green Party, which is currently part of the government, and therefore also responsible for what is happening here. And we always say we're not disappointed. We didn't ever expect them to act any differently, because even though they call themselves green, they are still part of a system that is based on growth. And that system is the same system that digs up that hole that we have right here, and that just keeps running and running and running. So this is exactly why we need to organize from below, because we cannot expect the change to come from the politics that we have. And yeah, so we didn't expect any differently, honestly. But right now people are in their structures, they're in their tree houses, in their houses, but also in the occupation structures like tripods and monopods. And the police has started to evict. They have started to evict like barricades on the streets. They started to evict one of the big halls in the back, where there are also people high up, like underneath the ceiling. So yeah, they've started evicting this and like everything that's kind of easy to reach. Right here where we are right now, it's relatively calm. So since we've been up here early morning, not so much has happened here, except the police standing around. Yeah, so we make ourselves a good time up here because we cannot go down anymore. Once again, right now here it's relatively calm, but that might change when they try to evict us. I think what unifies us is the fight against the injustice that is the lignite coal mining right here, and the general system in which a company is able to destroy a village for profit in general. But also we've shown here over the last 2 years that we've been here that we can organize differently, that we can have other forms of living together, of working together, of organizing from below. And we will continue to do that.
While I was roaming around in the Lützerath village, everywhere there were police. All of them were well equipped with weapons against unarmed activists and civilians. That situation has clearly indicated the creation of a culture of fear amongst Lützerath defendants. Also, this police showdown was well broadcasted throughout the media. So in a way, the authority managed to transmit this culture of fear amongst its residents. I went to Canberra to talk with others to know more about the whole issue.
I think it's pretty basic. There's people living right now, and if we keep on doing what is happening there, the coal mining, then people will not have a ground to stand on. There will be like in the south, there's already happening so much, and we are just contributing to it. And so we need to stop and to save the ground that we stand on. It's as basic as that.
Well, there's the big coal mining company, RWE. They want to mine lignite coal, and for that they have already destroyed, well, in all of Germany there have been more than 300 villages destroyed for coal mining, and now they want to destroy Lützerath, which is the last village meant to be destroyed for lignite mining. And that's highly problematic because beneath Lützerath there are 100 millions of tons of lignite which are meant to be burnt, which we cannot burn anymore because of the climate crisis. Well, right now we are in unser aller camp, which is our camp, basically, translated. And there are hundreds, if not thousands of people here, I'm not sure. Many people who want to defend Lützerath, who want to make sure that we we as the global North finally change our way of living for a more climate justice way of living. Yeah, and then today the police arrived with a very large amount of police and excavators and a lot of vehicles to destroy the infrastructure and evict people. And right now there are hundreds of people coming back from Lützerath, which is the neighboring village, who have been evicted.
And we are a supportive camp for Lützerath people who are experiencing the eviction right now. We're just here to support people with basic needs, but also with emotional care, with facilities and stuff.
Well, I think there's a huge conflict in the society. Many people who see what the problem is, that we have to change our way of living, because right now already it's 1.2 degrees of global warming, which is hell for people in the global south. And even in the global north we can see the effects happening with floods and droughts coming. And there's a lot of people, some of them are here, making clear what their opinion is, but the state, the government doesn't react enough. And now by sending the police here, for me personally, it shows me that the state has more an interest in supporting like a capitalist company rather than saving the future of this planet.
The state is making a mistake, but it's coming from a capitalist point of view, so it makes sense, of course. But I think this capitalist point of view in itself is the mistake, because we cannot take and take and take and take and take and not give anything back and expect for all the resources to give and give forever. It's not working like that. And so I think it's all a huge mistake. It's all, it's greed. They're fueled by greed, and they're fueled by wanting it to be more profitable than it already is. And that's, I don't know, that's just so shitty. It doesn't make sense in my point of view. Sometimes it's a really powerful feeling because it's lined with friendship and compassion and love for one another and for the trust that we put into each other, because everybody is working together to make something like this big camp and like the like Lützerath happening. And it's a really powerful feeling sometimes, but you can also, witnessing the violence that is coming from the police, you can also feel really weak and small. And if you think about your friends that are inside the eviction right now, you feel really stressed and anxious and nervous, which is part of what I'm feeling right now, because I want my friends to be safe, and I want this, I want Lützerath to be safe.
That was the end of the day X. Everyone wants the Lützerath to be safe. After that, on 14th of January 2023, a big demonstration happened. Thousands of protesters from every walk gathered in Lützerath But we wanted to dig down more about the scientific aspect of the ongoing climate crisis. So we invited Dr. Atiq Rahman to talk. Atiq Rahman is a prominent environmentalist, scientist, development expert, and visionary thinker in South Asia. In 2008, he was honored with the highest United Nations Environmental Award, which called the Champion of the Earth. Mr. Rahman is a long-standing lead author and convening lead author for the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, in short, IPCC. As a lead author of the IPCC fourth assessment, he was a co-recipient of the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize. And he shared with us his insight about this whole situation of the climate crisis.
Let me start with the emission. Where is the cause? The cause is coming from a number of uses of energy. Now, coal is the most inefficient use of energy. Then we have the timber and wood and all those are soft uses of natural products. And then it's gas, natural gas, which is also used. So in that system, coal is one of the worst use of energy in terms of efficiency. And this whole debate has been undertaken in the United Nations through the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It is that convention which now is globally accepted, and in that the Annex 1 countries, the rich countries are crudely, vaguely, are the causes of much of the trouble, and it's the poor countries who have been the victims of use. Now, the poor countries to become and use their basic needs of energy for food, agriculture, future growth, need far more, require far more and greater amount of energy use, and that has to come in some cases of whatever resources they have. In some cases they have coal, in some cases it is timber and wood. On the other hand, when countries who are lucky to have natural gas in huge number, they are more efficient. Now that distribution is not universal and not easy. The present climate problem is essentially a problem of energy being used by a few people much more per head, per person than the rest of the world. And the rest of the world happens to be in the developing world, where energy consumption per head is low. Now, a country like Brazil, which has a very high population, has numbers, but the population is so large that per capita utilization of energy is the way to look at it. So, regrettably, the rich countries have used total amount. Say Europe, their total energy input is high, but their per capita input is much higher than those of the developing countries. So developing countries is in general, but I'll specify later, are in the way they are trying to increase their energy use, but technologically and historically they cannot do it in a sufficient way, so the per capita use is low. Of course, there are issues of inefficiency in the system. Every system has to be efficient as we go along, and developing countries are falling behind. Now, countries like India, Bangladesh, Kenya, or many of these countries which are more populous, they are having energy release measurable, good amount, but per capita is very low. So consequently, their proportion is low in per capita terms, and they are utilizing and their energy spending is very, very difficult and also very expensive. So the politics of climate change is a politics of energy use, energy focus, and in many cases, energy abuse. Now, the critical issue is in mitigation, which is the energy used for greenhouse gas emission. This is where the rich countries or more emitting countries are leading. However, for the poorer countries, what they need is greater amount of adaptation, their amount of accessibility and use in a very efficient way for their survival, for their food security, for their water security, for their energy security. So those are critical issues. And when it comes to per capita terms, developing countries are in a way subsidizing the industrialized country with reduced energy use. While it's the other way around for rich countries, and it is the rich countries which are the major emitters per capita in the world, and then the distribution becomes distorted, and hence it has been said that if the few of rich countries is equivalent to many of poor countries in terms of total amount of emission. So the whole issue of loss and damage, which is the impact of climate change on the society, on the ecosystem, and on individuals, their capacity to develop and have developed potential for future further development. So that is being undermined in many cases and in many countries, particularly in the developing countries, which are highly populous, because their per capita comes low, but collectively they are not that big. Hence, this whole of loss and damage needs further study, further negotiation, and has to be an integral part of negotiation. And there has to be a compensation mechanism through which the poor countries and the poor citizens can get their right to the planetary use of energy, and by doing proper adaptation, and that adaptation will have to be funded and resourced.
On that note, we wanted to know from Dr. Atiq Rahman that what's the point of this compensation mechanism if the whole country just vanished due to the impact of climate change?
The right to survive is the most fundamental of all rights. If you don't survive, then all other human rights and legitimacy and everything goes down the drain. So, right to survive as a country. Now, the most affected are the small islands, which is, as the sea level rise increases, these small islands are under great threat. And the threat is one of threat of survival. So that threat has to be protected and can only be done by reducing the total amount of carbon emitted by rich countries at a rapid rate. And this reduction has to be significant, rapid, and has to start right now. So otherwise, the future planning will be at the cost of many of these small islands. Many of them are independent countries as well. So the right of a nation to live will have to be protected.
We are thankful to Dr. Atiq Rahman for reflecting on the global climate crisis and its politics. On the other hand, we also wanted to talk about the public perception about Lützerath. Police already evicted the whole village. In the meantime, we met a person in one of the cities in North Rhine-Westphalia and asked to share his thoughts about Lützerath. We asked how it felt being part of the big demonstration. Is this kind of demonstration able to change anything? And how was his experience staying in the camp?
Most of the time when I witness this whole situation, I feel very alone against the big machinery. And when you gather with many people, you see you're not alone. And everybody is contributing a day, or everybody wants to be home in January when it's cold. But they were all out there. And that's beautiful to see. And even if that's the only thing you achieve in that day, you still make a huge signal. It was on the media for many days. And they know, when you fuck with the climate movement, any weather, they bring up 30,000 people, and that's a very powerful signal. Even if it doesn't save any place at the moment, when you look for the long distance, it's really important. It's a big topic, because it's not a demonstration in Cologne or Berlin where everybody can take the tram and contributes 2 or 3 hours. No, it's somewhere in a rural area where you have to organize yourself. It's a big thing that we accomplished there. I mean, what other movement can bring up this amount of people in this area during this time in the winter season? And when we look back in 20 years or 30 years, we'll all be a little bit proud that at least, even though we couldn't save the 280 million tons of coal, at least we were there and said, no, we don't want that, even though we can't fight machine guns. Because that's what's going to happen when you run over the police with 20,000 people. They will shoot in the air. And that's the time when I run away, So it's the only thing you can do to make a statement. Because you can't run against the government. That's what you said. They're armed and we are a big country, 80 million people. And when the narrative of the politic is we're gonna dig this coal, then they will do it no matter what it takes. They can't lose their face. They have to do what they say. They will. So demonstrating and making a point is the only way that you can achieve something. Because the other thing is already set by the society. That's going to happen anyway. For abortion rights, or there's a demonstration for Iran. I know with the protest here, I'm not going to change abortion rights. I'm not going to change the situation of protests in Iran. I do it for myself, so don't feel alone. That's what I like. A really egoistic attribute, but anyway, it helps me to stay interested in these topics and not to be like my father, who one day decided, okay, I'm not going to change the world, so I don't care anymore, because it's making me feel pain when I feel I have no power. Or that's what I thought when I want to maintain this opinion and this, I don't know, motivation. I need to be in a group, because it makes me feel as a team, like playing in a band or playing solo. Solo is so hard work. In a band, it's easy. I don't know because you said what's it gonna change? Well, demonstrations actually have changed things. So I was there 3 days, camping in the support camp, Keimberg. I spent there 2 nights. It was tough. It was cold, it was wet. I don't know many people there. It's a tough job when you look for quests to do. I was on shit brigade 2 times, so I'm really taking out from the compost toilet buckets with shit. It's disgusting. I do that, you know, so yeah, when you say, you know, what's it good for? No, it's good for something. I did that not just for fun. I want to, I helped the whole preparation of the day. Because it's a lot of organizing, not just giving a Google point where everybody meets. No, it's weeks and weeks of preparation. And the guys who were evicted from Lützerath, all the people, they came to Keinberg camp and they were all sick, cold, totally disillusioned, because they thought that many of them believe that a lot of people will come to defend Lützerath. Nobody came. It was 200 people in the village and they were evicted within 4 days. And the hope was that when they say it's day X, now police coming, there will be hundreds of people coming. It was not the case, so they were really disappointed. Because they hoped that many people will come to defend Lützerath. They hoped that 1,000 people will come and fight the police. That's what they thought and hoped. It was because so many people over the last years visited Lützerath, and there was they were all working there, and there were people living in Lützerath for years, just building up structures and also networks in whole Germany, showing people, inviting people, I don't know, making festivals there, and they really hope that when the day comes, we have to go, then people come to help us. But almost nobody came. Yeah, they were needed a week earlier. It's a little bit, in Germany we say double standard. Okay, I come, but only if I don't have to do something. So yeah, I totally can take the other side of the question. What you're here now for, you know, there's nothing to save anymore. We need your help a week ago. Where were you? You know, you're not here to help actually, you're here for your own sleep, you know, so you can sleep well. I was there, I tried it. No, you weren't. But myself too, I was there too late, and for no chance I fight the police. I'm too scared. Because I know police brutality. I know it's happening. I know people who got beat up very bad. I'm not scared of what's going to be shown in media or on Instagram or Twitter. I'm scared of what's not going to be shown there. Police custody. If you get into custody, what's that like? What if they actually can identify you? You get like a court rule, and then you have it in your register. Can I work as a social worker? Can I apply, or do I have I don't know what it's called, but when I was found guilty for something, it makes my life maybe harder. Unlikely, I know. I can always step back, you know, I don't have to take the beat. Maybe there's somebody, and maybe it can be in the second line. But then it's also just very tough. It's cold, you have to be really fit to do it. You have to see the police is very well organized. They have containers, they have hot showers, they have good meals. They're just strong and prepared. We don't have that, we live in tents. We get sick. Half of the camp in Keinberg was sick. Everybody was coughing in the night. It's not nice, you know. I was in the tent, the two tents away, the lady was coughing like really bad. I thought, you know, you get to the hospital now, you know, you don't, your lungs sound bad. Or diarrhea. Many people have diarrhea. I don't know. So, and that's gonna all affect me when I'm actually in there. When in the camp, it's okay. I can retreat when I need to. But when you're in action, maybe you need to be there 24 hours, 48 hours, 3 days. I cannot maintain my power that long. I get weak sometimes. So that's what I'm scared of. I'm just scared of the action and how it's gonna soak my energy. I'm scared of getting sick also. It's a really tough situation, like this kind of evictions. They always do it in the winter because they know we're weaker in the winter. We get less support. If they would have tried it in the summer, it would have been a festival of civil rights. Oh, I think we live in a mafia state sometimes. Not like in a serious mafia state like Colombia, but in a more advanced capitalistic system. The police is not there to protect the people. There is a part of the police that's protecting the people, but the main task of the police is to protect the production. You know, the economy. That's their job, to maintain this system. Get people working, provide electricity, all this stuff. Of course, I call the police many times in my job. I'm totally dependent on, and I know many good police people. It's a vast perception of this whole thing. It's a big topic. But in that specific context, the police is there to protect private capitalistic grief. That's their job. That's how our whole system, that's how the Western or the whole world works, I think. If you have money, you will be protected because I don't know, maybe it's just a perception in the politics also. They appear important, they're not even important, maybe. But like they negotiated this deal, like, okay, get 8 years earlier of coal, that was the deal, but then you can dig these 200 something billion tons. The police could have just, the politicians could have also said, you stop now. Like with nuclear plants, they also said, you stop now, no matter what.
We precisely asked him what he thought of the current government allied with the Green Party.
That's actually the best joke about this whole thing, right? That's a really funny, you know, if it would be like CDU, it would have been a good fight, but not with our allies. Yeah, sometimes history is a joke. I don't know. I don't try not to think about it, to be honest. And then I come from that, okay, there's a private company protected by the police, then I go to, okay, why are companies not paying taxes? Okay, why can you give 3 billion to your son and not pay a proper amount of taxes? It's not fair. When I get to this whole, I don't know, Verteilung it's called in German, distribution aspect of wealth, I go crazy. I go so crazy about it, so I can talk about it with you, but I won't. The minute you go out, I don't think about it anymore. I don't want to, you know, I just live my life, and I know there's a really big flame in me that's really angry, but I try to control it and let it flow into my opinion and into my action, but not too much. Because it's not going to change. We're going to fuck up the planet. That's what I believe.
We studied several scientific papers and reports during the development of this episode. Throughout our studies, we found that Germany and Poland are the two top countries contributing to industrial air pollution in Europe because of their high number of coal-fired power plants. Air pollution originating from lignite-fired power plants in Brandenburg and Poland has significant consequences for public health system and the economy. Additional treatment costs and medication creates a strain for health insurers, but also mean an economic burden for the families and the individuals affected. Germany is at the top of the list of European countries regarding cost of industrial air pollution. Air pollution is still an important public health issue. It enhances the risk of developing chronic diseases of the cardiovascular and respiratory system and decreases the average life expectancy in Europe by 8.6 months. About 450,000 deaths annually are caused by air pollution with fine particulate matter. The Climate Impact and Risk Assessment 2021 for Germany examined over 100 climate change impact and their interactions, and around 30 of them were found to require very urgent action. These include deadly heat stress, especially in the cities, water shortage in the soil, and more frequent low water, with serious consequences of all ecosystem, agriculture, forestry, and the goods transport sectors. The economic damage caused by heavy rainfall, flash floods, and flooding to structures also studied. Only a few regions in Germany have so far been very intensively affected by heat, drought, or heavy rainfall. In the event of strong climate change, many more regions would be confronted with these effects by the middle of the century. The greatest change to that climate relative to today's world occur in the west and south of Germany. Climate extremes would occur most frequently in the southwest and east. Rivers and river valleys could be affected by the consequences of water-specific risks such as low water and floods. On the coast, hazards from sea level rise would increase significantly in the second half of the century. If climate change is strong, all of Germany would become a hotspot for climate change risks by the end of the century.
Unrest Radio.